This is a Sandy Boy Productions podcast. Hey everybody, welcome to All Have Another podcast with Lindsay Hine. I'm your host, Lindsay. Thanks for being here today. Did you know you can get all these episodes ad-free now on Patreon? Patreon.com/Lindsay Hine. Support the show for as little as $3 a month, and there you have it, ad-free. But since you're here, I want to tell you about one of our premium sponsors here on All Have Another podcast, and that is Lagoon. Lagoon Sleep makes the best pillows ever. If you're looking for amazing sleep, you know this is important. If you are training hard, if you're just lifing hard, you got to get good sleep, and Lagoon makes the best pillows. Some of your favorite marathoners that I know you're cheering for in Boston this year, including Emma Bates, Kira D'Amato, and Dakota Lindworm, all optimize their sleep with Lagoon pillows. So why not do the same? I've been using the Lagoon pillow for years and love it so much. And you can go to lagoonsleep.com/Lindsay and use the code Lindsay, LINDSEY, to save 15% off your order. All right, friends, today on the podcast, speaking of the Boston Marathon, we've got Jess McClain on the show. She will be running her 5th marathon in Boston next weekend. So exciting that Marathon Monday is coming up so quickly. This will be Jess's 2nd time on the podcast. I had her on the show after the Olympic marathon trials in 2024 when she placed 4th and people thought, who is this woman? Well, she wasn't an actual somebody who came out of nowhere. She's a former 5,000 meter runner who, before the Olympic trials in 2024, she had taken a little break from professional running during COVID. Actually, we talk about it in this episode, but she was training with Brooks Beast before that. She ran for Stanford University, where she was an All-American and was a standout runner in high school, actually coached by Jeff Messer, who was on this podcast on our coaching series last year, sponsored by VDOT. I'll actually link that episode because it's really cool to hear from her high school coach, knowing about what her career looks like now. So Jess, when she ran the Olympic trials in Orlando, taking 4th place, she had run a 4-minute PR running 2:25:46. She went on to place 4th in the 10,000 at the Olympic trials on the track, and actually at the USA Half Marathon Championships last month, she also placed 4th. And that is something we talk about in this episode because I always see Jess coming back after these races with so much grace and so much excitement for her teammates and people she's competing with who have made teams. And she talks about how she has taken the podium pressure off and has really learned to enjoy the races for what they are beyond that podium. She ran her first major marathon last fall in New York, where she placed 8th, running 2:27:19. So this will be her 2nd major in Boston, and she learned a lot in that first major, which you'll hear about in this episode. Jess also, she won the USA 10K title last year at the Great Cow Harbor 10K, and she's been hitting the track a little bit, something she said she didn't think she'd do again. So really exciting to see that. We also talk about her sponsorship with Brooks and her teammates there and how special that team is. This was really great to catch up with Jess, and I can't wait to see what she does in Boston this year. Jess also works full-time. On top of being a professional runner, she works for the Love Up Foundation and Love Pup Foundation. And the mission at the Love Up Foundation is to spread love and kindness while supporting the foster care system. Love that so much. All right, friends, it was great to catch up with Jess. I love her energy, love what she's doing, and love that we get to celebrate her and cheer her on in this wonderful sport. If you're enjoying this podcast, please consider leaving us a quick rating and review. It is a huge help. We are 603 episodes in, and I'm still asking for those ratings and reviews because they matter. All right, friends, enjoy my conversation with Jess McClain. All right, Jess McClain back on the podcast. How are you?
I'm great, Lindsay. Thanks so much for having me back on. I'm honored.
I'm so excited. I was thinking, like, who do I want to have on before Boston? And I was looking at everybody who's training, and I wanted to get a conversation with you. So Boston will be your 5th marathon, correct?
I think so. Yes, I believe
Woo!
so.
How
Yeah.
are you feeling?
I'm feeling great, honestly. I made it through the build and, hit all the important days and, kind of skirted the getting sick bug. That didn't happen, knock on wood, and managed to balance work, life, and running again. So I'll take that as a win anytime. But honestly, the hardest part is just getting to this point and then really knowing that all the work has been done and not letting the craziness of my taper for New York kind of got me going a little nuts. So I'm not going to let that happen this time and just focus on getting excited and getting everything ready. I just ordered more bottles on Amazon and doing all the little final touches before we fly out next Thursday. So
Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Okay, this is really fun because we're going to put this out this Friday. So it's going to be
fun.
super, super timely, like really good timing. And a lot of listeners here like are also running Boston. So hopefully they can
Amazing.
relate to some of the feelings you're having with like right before the race. But I want to ask you more about what you mean with the New York thing, like how you
Yeah.
let the taper get to you. What went down?
Oh my gosh. I think it was a mixture of it being my first world major and truly my first like major competition in a pretty international competitive field. I hadn't been on the scene in a minute in that capacity. And New York is, it's big and it's like loud and shiny and everything's fun. And I knew the back half of the course relatively well. Realized I had no idea what the first 13 miles entailed. So that made me probably a little more nervous than I should have been. But it was just a combination of, I think for me personally, I train in Phoenix. So I was up at 4:30 most days training, and I do think that got to me a little bit. I think perhaps maybe I was a little cooked, which I always pride myself on not being cooked before, major races like this. But I think I was a little mentally spent, just getting through the summer and getting the training in. And I think the taper hit, and it just all hit me at once, like realizing that this was my first really big, marathon on a big stage. Orlando was different. I think I just went in and just kind of was happy being in the shadows and not, really, it was just fun being, a background dancer, as some would say, just like a character that's back there and hanging out for the most part. But New York was like, you get the buzz and you get the press stuff. And I was a part of the press conference and had appearances and I had friends in town and family flew out. So I got to the day before the race and realized I had barely put my feet up for more than like 30 or 45 minutes in the hotel room for stints here at a time. So I just didn't do a good job of prioritizing recovery and protecting my mental and physical peace. And I was just kind of embracing everything and saying yes to everything. And I do realize that I probably did a little too much of that. So I think I was a little tired, but I had so much fun. I think it was a great way to kind of test myself in a first big marathon on a stage like that. Just kind of go in, knowing I could have done a few things better, but mostly being excited. I think once the gun went off, everything went away. It was so funny. I just need to get to the starting line sometimes. And once that happened, I was so happy when the gun went off and I heard Frank Sinatra. Got to
Oh, yes.
climb the Verrazano and, then just set off running into uptown New York. So it was great.
It's wild to hear a pro talk about it like that because even as everyday runners, like that's the one thing you always talk about is like at these big majors, like there's so much to do, so much going on.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to just like get caught up in the hype and not rest enough, which
It's
for
so
you,
hard to do. It's so hard to do that. But
I
it's so important.
know. And there's so much more on the line for someone who's like running professionally for their job. It's twofold though.
Yeah.
For someone like you have so many irons in the fire. Like that we have some professional runners who like full-time job, like this is my sole focus, but you also are still working full-time. And I never want to come off as like one is better than the other, one is harder than the other or whatever.
Of course. Yeah.
But you just said like you were getting up and doing these runs at 4:30 every morning.
Yeah, I had some long runs where I was starting my watch by 4:45.
I mean,
Done with my run by like 7 a.m. So it was not. And when you're doing that, like you're not you're not doing that and running in 70 degrees. Like you're starting your watch and it's 88, 89, already
Still.
climbing to 90.
Yeah.
It was really brutal. And I think I have not always been the biggest fan of altitude training. I just don't think I've come out of it properly. I think I don't know. I trained too hard at altitude, maybe did too much. But I am definitely looking this summer to get out for like 4 to 5 weeks. Not necessarily like high altitude training, maybe go up to Flag for a few weekends here and there, but then maybe look at like Salt Lake City or Boulder or something like that where it's not, 7,000 to 8,000 feet, but we're getting cooler weather and I can run, not not as the sun is rising and it's still 90 degrees. So that's something where I had to swallow my pride a little bit and be like, okay, we're going to plan for this, budget for this, like start communicating with my colleagues and bosses early and just let them know like, hey, I'm going to get all my work done, but I just might need to get out of Dodge for 4 or 5 weeks because it is not easy. Yeah.
No. Yeah. I noticed one of your posts you recently had posted, like you got your workout in like midday at like, got your 90 minutes in. Because the sleep part is so important. Like if you're grinding like that, even 5 days a week, getting up that early, like your body just starts to be like, okay, like we need to sleep here.
For sure. And that was the other thing with New York. I'm sure there's runners out there, whether you're a pro or not, like I started losing sleep 10 days out. I started getting so nervous, which me, I used to get freaky nerves like sometimes in college and then a lot as an early professional, but it was more just like, it was just thinking about all the things I couldn't control, going through worst case scenarios over and over again. And I kind of found myself like reverting back to that, which was so weird before New York. And I noticed myself just like waking up multiple times in the middle of the night, like waking up, finally falling asleep at 10 or 11, like waking up at 3:30 and not being able to fall back asleep. And I was like, oh my gosh, and finally my husband was like, we need to figure this out. This is like not why we're doing this anymore. Like this is the fun part. And so that was a good wake up call because even despite all that happening, like not getting a ton of sleep, being on my feet a ton, like kind of feeling overwhelmed, I still got top 10 and I felt great during the race and I was able to stay calm and like get my, get it done. Could I have run probably faster had I done, been able to avoid a few of those things? Probably. But for this build, it's been a really good lesson to be like, let's get to the taper and then just really enjoy the process of these next few weeks, like soaking in all the training. And this is what I tell people when they're like, any advice going into my first marathon? And I'm like, honestly, getting there healthy is half the battle. Like if you can do that, you should feel so confident, like no matter if your build was 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks, like you did the work, look back through your logs, like remind yourself of all the long runs and, workouts that you did. And that should give you a lot of confidence. And like, this is the fun part. Like you should be nervous. That means you care and your body's about to do something that like, I don't know, I can't remember the stat, but like a very minute percentage of the population has ever done. So you should be nervous, but like really practice on managing those nerves. And I think this is a good time to start doing that where you're not thinking about the race like super intensely, but like reminding yourself when you get those butterflies, like, oh, like we're excited. I care. This is normal. The pros feel this, like everybody gets nervous. And I'm just trying to take my own advice and remind myself of that. But I'm really excited. I'm excited to connect with more fans. I feel like, of the sport and other people running, I feel like I'm doing a few more like expo things. And it's not a ton, but it's like the perfect amount where I can be fully invested in that and excited for it and like really present. So I'm really stoked. I'm just like, the weather's always this thing where it's like you can't control it. Obviously, we all wish we could, but planning for that will be funny, especially as like a native Phoenician where like 75 degrees is my ideal like lizard temperature of like I love being in the sun. So that'll be funny to prepare for that, but we're not looking at the forecast too much until we're like, maybe heading into the weekend. Last minute shopping.
I mean, but talk about like, man, if it's a hot day, you'd be set up for success kind of, right?
I love running in the heat. It's weird. I know it's not
your body knows it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I got the end of my long run this past Sunday. My last one was probably like just above 80 degrees. And it did start to feel a little warm just because the weather's been so nice lately. But there's something about just like sweating and feeling the sun on you. I love it, but I know for a marathon, it could be a different story.
True.
But we'll see. I mean, I'll take anything, hopefully not wind, but we'll see.
Well, I know. I'm like, do you kind of hope it's like a little toasty? Like, do you hope it's like a little warmer than most would like to give yourself an advantage?
Personally, I would just love the heat. I mean, Atlanta was probably the coldest conditions I've raced in a minute, and it took me like 6 miles.
That was not cold.
It was so cold. It took me 6 or 7 miles for me to warm up. Like, I had hand warmers under my gloves in my like.
Oh wait, Atlanta.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was thinking Orlando, so I was like,
I was
like,
yeah.
Wow, she was
no. Orlando was nice. I liked Orlando. I actually warmed up in a fuzzy jacket. I was cold on my warm up, which is, I don't know, it's different. And here's the thinking: I lived in Seattle for almost 5 years, but that made me tougher for sure as a girl that loves the heat.
Okay, yeah, she's talking about Atlanta half marathon champs.
Yes.
I don't know why my brain was thinking Orlando. I was like, wasn't it like 75 degrees? Why
You're like, come on, Jess.
Warmers?
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Okay, but so that's like one of the big things, though, I think, with your story. And there's probably plenty of people, pros, who have like some sort of path that's similar, where like you had that carefree race in Orlando where you were like you said, the background dancer. So like the pressure wasn't there.
Yeah,
and then
supporting character.
Supporting character who gets fourth and then continues to get fourth for a little while. But like, how do you get back to that like pressure-free feeling? It's so hard because like you're obviously like more in it now than you were then. Mm-hmm. But like, what are you doing to try to get back to that like mindset of just be or whatever it is?
Yeah, something that's helped me, and maybe this is because I have a job and things going on outside. It's like I don't put in PTO. I just, races are on the weekends and stuff, and I'll let my job know like, hey, I'm pretty much working up until, I'll be on my emails probably travel day and a little bit Friday. But for me, it actually like feels like a vacation to go run and race. And my husband's he's been so fun. I tell him, I'm like, hey, you do not have to come to these things. Like at least not all of them. Like I can go, I can race, get in, get out. It's totally fine. And he's like, no, this is like the best part. And we literally treat it like a little vacation, even though, some of the spots are more conducive to just getting in and racing and not really being a, tourist and doing fun things. But he's made it so fun. And it's always, it's so important to have people in your life that remind you, hey, no matter the outcome, we're still here. This is fun. Like, the fact that you still get to do this is great. If anything, I put the pressure on myself in those moments that I feel, that weight on my shoulders. It's totally self-inflicted. And it's just nice to have things going on outside of all of this where life still goes on. Like I come back Sunday or Monday and it's like I've got meetings, I've got things that just don't let me sit and dwell in a race if it doesn't go well. And then same if it goes great. Like it's so fun to come back to work and they're like, oh, awesome. Like, okay, but get me that sponsorship deck and let's talk about this weekend, and things just the ball keeps rolling. So I thrive in that environment where, I get to go all in on racing on the weekends. I pretty much, workout days I love because I really prioritize my work schedule to give me a few extra hours in the morning to really just focus on my workout day with my friends and my training partners. So you just have to figure out your recipe for being able to balance all of that and getting the joy out of running, because there are so many people, especially on the roads, you see there's so many people from different walks of life doing this, and it's like the nurses and the people who have full-time jobs and the mom of 3, and we're all figuring out how to make it work. And I think what's really cool about the roads is you do get to line up on the same starting line and race the same roads that the professionals get to. And I think having taken a step back from the sport, that was something that as a fan, I just really loved to recognize that. And something like Boston is just, it's so cool to be able to line up and know that the entire, all the waves are behind you and the roads are probably going to be even louder for them. It's just so cool.
Yes.
But yeah, you have to celebrate getting to the line and having the people in your life that help get you there. And yeah, that's what I try to remind myself of when I get super nervous.
Yeah. A quick break here to thank Maui Nui for supporting this podcast episode. And if you're looking for the best, healthiest red meat ever, 100% wild harvested, an amazing taste, a convenient, great snack for on the go, check out Maui Nui venison. Maui Nui is solving a critical environmental problem in Hawaii. Wild axis deer are invasive to Maui, overpopulated and damaging the ecosystem. And so they've found a way to solve that problem in a humane way and also provide you with the most nutritious, high-quality protein out there. Now, these are great snacks to throw in your kids' lunches, to have after practices, things like that. Now, Maui Nui has unmatched flavor and quality, and they have a special offer for friends of this podcast. If you're looking for a nutrient-dense, on-the-go option, the starter pack, which is an exclusive offer, allows you to try fan favorite stick flavors in one 12-pack, or maybe you're ready to kickstart your venison culinary adventure, you can try out their starter box, which is a great way to try the premium fresh venison in one carefully curated box. They also have membership options. And I just have to say, sometimes I feel so overwhelmed with all the processed foods and things that we are throwing in our kids' lunches and snacks on the go. I feel so good about this option. And 2 of my 4 kids love them, love them, love them, love them. Just go to mauinuivenison.com/Lindsay to check out all they have to offer. That's MAUINUI venison.com/Lindsay, LANDSEY. I made that like annoying 4th place comment, but like every time I've heard anything of you talking after these races, you're nothing but like gracious and positive and like looking to the next thing and like cheering on the people who made the team or whatever. But how do you feel? Like you want that top 3 at some point, like
of course.
And you won the 10K championships last year. It's not like you haven't like broken tape or anything, but like tell me your feelings and how you stay so positive.
Perspective, I would say I was always chasing podiums and times, my first 3 years doing this at this level, and that got me literally nowhere. It got me hurt. It got me miserable. I did not enjoy practice for the most part. Like it just felt, I don't know, just like not fulfilling, focusing on just being so outcome oriented. And for these races, I'm like, I just focus on, what the ideal execution for that race is. Like for the 10, I just wanted to be super calm the first 5K, and then the latter half of the race, like really focus on being responsive and working my way up and literally giving everything I could the last 200 or 300 meters. And I focused on that. Like I kind of just focused on the plan. And I think the way I've done that, it's like coincidentally led to 4th place a lot of the times. Like Atlanta, I just couldn't go with an early move from Wayne, and it was just a little bit of uncharted territories in the half marathon, and I really didn't want to blow up. So like for that day, I got exactly what I wanted out of it, and it got me 4th. Same with the Olympic trials on the track. I knew that if it went out slow, I likely wouldn't have the legs or the speed to hang with those top 3 women, because I was just keeping a lot of my training marathon focused at that point, and I happened to get 4th. So there's not much I could have done differently, and all I can control is what I do in the moment and how I race and how I respond, to the outcome. And for me, it's actually, I think it's prepping me for 2028, because I've gotten 4th like 3 or 4 times. I'm not scared of it. Mm-hmm. Do I want to get 4th place in 2028? Of course not. But like I think I'm learning, and I'm sure silver linings, but it'll be interesting. Like if I run on the track for the USA Outdoor Championships, I think I'm like ranked 4th in the 10K for the US Women. So it's like, you can't really focus on that. I do love to talk about it, because I don't think it's talked about enough. I think it's always like podium or bust, or qualifying times or bust. But yeah, it's something, it's funny, but we've learned how to to manage it and just kind of move on, learn from it, move on.
Okay, this is a random example, and it's like such a small like thing compared to what you're doing. But like I been playing pickleball, and
Yeah. So fun. I love pickleball.
do you play?
I did not in the last year, but I did a lot like as it kind of first
Okay,
got to be
yeah.
big. Yeah, it's so fun.
It's so
Tennis is so
fun.
hard for me. It's a lot of ground to cover,
Oh,
but pickleball is like great. It's more social. It's a little more
yeah.
casual. Yeah.
I've never played tennis. I do find that the pickleball players who have played tennis like tend to pick it up a little bit easier, like friends
Yeah,
that I've
for
played with.
sure.
Just the beginning because of the paddle sports, swing
Yep.
or racket sports, whatever. But anyway, last night in my big championship beginner league game, we won. I was so excited. But I was like, okay, I do this when I run too. If I smile a lot, I enjoy the process more.
Yeah.
Little Dakota Lindworm action, right? Like
I love that. Yes.
even if you're like hurting really bad, if I can like grit out a smile, like I'm just realizing like how grateful I am in the moment that I can do this. Well, I was doing that a lot last night when we were playing, and I think I was getting a little bit silly, and I wasn't being intense enough. And so my friend Whitney was like, Lindsay, like get more intense, like, So I stopped with the smiling and I started kind of like getting a little gritty and like grunting when I would like hit the ball. And I ended up playing really well. So I was just thinking through that and wondering, like, in your experience, like, how do you balance like that? Like, I'm so grateful for this moment. I'm enjoying this time. I'm so grateful my body can do these things. And I'm a freaking beast and I gotta like, like I gotta like grind so freaking hard to make this happen.
That's a great question. I'm the kind of athlete, and I know everybody's different. Like I feel like some athletes have alter egos when they're on the start line and when they're racing. I tend to lean more like pre-meet and hanging out before the race, and like even in the call room, I'm definitely more, and I'm not annoying about it. Like if I can tell there's certain people that want like AirPods in, don't talk to me, I'm in the zone. I tend to gravitate to the other competitors who are like, oh, let's warm up together and let's do all this. Like for me, that makes it so much more fun. I love connecting with people and just sharing those moments if, the other folks in the group are up for it. But I feel like the minute the gun goes off like that, for me, that like we're competitors after that point, and I let myself really enjoy all of that leading up to that moment. Even on the starting line, I'm most oftentimes like bubbly and smiley, and like most of the photos from start lines I've noticed are like final smiles and, enjoying the moment. But yeah, the race for me, it's like, yeah, mostly all business. I'd say a little bit of that too in workouts, but not very often. I think workouts, I still have so much fun on workout days, and I love like the act of grinding it out, but I'm mostly just enjoying it. And then as soon as we cross the line, I love to cross the line and like congratulate the women who finish ahead of me, and then like wait, to see who's coming in behind me and stick around and enjoy like that moment for a little bit. I just feel like there's so much to be said for, I don't know, lifting people up, like celebrating those who've had a knockout day or a great day, and then hanging around and giving a few words of comfort or like to those who maybe like had a tough day, especially the younger athletes. I'm like, oh my gosh, look at me. I'm 33, you're 26. Like you're looking 7 years into the mirror here, and like you've got so much ahead of you in terms of other racing opportunities. Like you're going to get so many PRs, you're going to have bad days. So yeah, I think I kind of turned a corner this year where I'm like, oh man, I'm kind of on the veteran, older side of this, and I have the opportunity to make some younger athletes feel better in moments they might need it, or better in moments where like they're already on cloud nine and they just get the extra boost, because I've had people like that who've helped me in those moments. And yeah, so it's kind of like on either end of the race, I'm all about leaning in and celebrating and enjoying the moment and sharing the moment with others. But during the race, I'm like, what's my job in this moment and what's the goal? And I feel like I get asked a lot about like, oh, you caught up to so-and-so and you were in this pack with these women or these athletes. And I'm like, I honestly like bodies are bodies to me in the moment. I kind of just like black out and try to keep momentum going forward, especially on the roads. But yeah, races are just like, yeah, you're just zeroed in for the most part. But
Wow.
usually I'm bubbly. I would say I'm more of like that's why I gravitate towards like the like racing with Emily Infeld at the 10. Oh my gosh. Cause she like on the track though, she is cutthroat. Like I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've chased her around the track for years and years and years and years. So like I know it, but like on the, she's like, oh, let's go get brunch. And we were warming up together and it was just so fun. And then on the starting line, it's like, zoom, like you're just, it's like total, character change. But that's like the cool part about racing. You get to be that, whatever it is that gives you the confidence and extra fire or spice, like your pickleball partner wanted you to do. So I love that.
Yeah. I love seeing you and Emily both break 31 together. Like that was so fun. So cool. Yeah. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. It was so fun because I know she's had a tough year. Just we've all been there. I did, except I gave up. I literally like quit the sport and she stayed in it and like kept showing up. And I just find that so commendable. It is so hard to keep showing up and racing. Like it's so vulnerable to put yourself back in it when you know you're not at your best and there's so much room for improvement. And she's somebody I've looked up to for so long. Like my coach in college, Coach Milt, coached her prior to getting to Stanford at Georgetown. And she's always somebody that he's talked about so highly. And when I was hurt I think it was like a first or second year pro in Seattle, I ended up texting her for like cross training advice. And she's been amazing to look up to. And I think it was so special to like dip under that barrier together, especially as Brooke's teammates. And it was so funny at the finish line. She's like, we did it. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, Em, like, you're back. This is great. And she's like, what's wrong with my back? Like, what's on my back? And I was like, no, like, you're back. Like, yes, you're back. And she's like, what's wrong with it? And I'm like, oh my gosh, no, like, you're friggin' back. You're back in action. This is so great. Post 10K brain is like, you're feeling all sorts of things, but it was so fun to celebrate her and to like kick it in with her. Like I've never had a race where I've taken the lead like that and kicked, that far out with women who I knew would probably hunt me down pretty quick. But it was like so fun to go 4 wide and have that moment and to have Em be in that pack and cross the finish line together under that 31 mark was awesome. It was just so fun. It was a blast.
Okay, yeah, that moment. I wrote this down from your Instagram post that you said, I used to count myself out well before that was ever even a possibility. So what changed? How'd you get yourself there?
I don't know. I think I used to always get scared to be in it. Like I just knew that it would hurt. I knew like it's just easier to count yourself out, honestly. And I think I always kind of took that path. I don't know why. I think perhaps too, it was a lot of doing workouts that maybe were out of my comfort zone a lot of the time, and I didn't get a ton of confidence from. And I think I've done a lot of work that has just given me that confidence, and I've prepared in a way that lets me go into races like knowing that it's okay to totally give it your all and take risks and blow up. Like I think I've gotten less scared of blowing up because I'm like, what's the worst that can happen? Like we'll hopefully still finish the race. Yes, it wouldn't be an ideal situation to make a move and then not be able to see it through and finish how we want. But most oftentimes the risks I've taken have like led to me busting through a barrier that I most oftentimes have set for myself as something I never thought I'd be able to bust through. So I don't know. I think my advice there would just be to like do the work and figure out how you can get to the place where you just feel like you have it available in you to give the risk like the chance, because I think I oftentimes burnt myself out in training and I redlined too much in training and I've gone the opposite. Like I pretty much have never redlined in workouts for the last 2 years. There have been a few that I've done in the last 6 months where I'm like, oh my gosh, I did not know I could do that. But it's been in a very like controlled environment. And maybe it's like a metaphor my high school coach used to always say is practice is for a lot of singles, a lot of doubles, the occasional triple, but we like very seldom ever hit a home run in practice. And I like that. I think I've connected with that like metaphor so much more in the last year or two, because I never want to I'm going to get hurt again, knock on wood, hopefully not as I have before, but like you're going to have niggles, you're going to have things that creep up, but like I want to control and set my body up for like as much health and success as I can. And for me, that means like leaving those moments for races. And I do like one workout a week and one really hard long run. That's been my build. I don't do 2 workouts a week. I don't run more than 80 miles a week. So I'm a fairly low mileage, like I guess that would qualify me as like low intensity for the most part compared to, the average of pros doing it.
A lot of them
level.
are doing 120. Yeah.
But that's what keeps me healthy and keeps me, I don't know, like my body's tired, but I'm mentally like, I'm not tired because I have more room to dedicate to those moments, to take more risks and leave it for the races. And I've been racing more than I ever have, but I think it's because I've taken that approach in training a little bit more. But yeah, I don't know. I think it just takes time and takes perspective and takes getting older in the sport to realize that it can get a little less scary to put yourself in it because you don't know what's going to happen. You never know. Like, especially in a marathon too, there's so much time that can, so many things can happen. So yeah, it's a lot of just bricks that I'm stacking, I guess, like mentally and physically to get me to those moments. But yeah, no like major secret or super short answer for that, I guess.
I mean, it sounds like a lot of it is just like flat out life experience.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I've noticed that myself too, like outside of running, like even in work, even in my personal life, like you just gain this confidence and you get to know yourself a little bit more and like what things you won't allow pushback on and things you won't settle for anymore. And for me, I was like, I am so sick of being in the sport and like not changing it for the better, not getting better, like being super average or below average. Like I got to the point where I'm like, why are we doing this? And it wasn't even fun. Like I was doing it and I wasn't performing well and I wasn't having fun. And I'm like, I need to take a step back and figure out if this is something I want to do. And I think when you do take a moment and a beat and give yourself space to like take a break from whatever it is that you've attached your identity to so much, it gives you the time to breathe and realize like, okay, this is just running. Like at the end of the day, I can do this in my spare time for fun, put one foot in front of the other before work or like whenever I want to. I can do that. Like that's totally fine. Or do I miss racing and like do I miss being a competitor? And I did. So I had to figure out how to introduce that back into my life in a healthy way. And I think doing that got me here. Like I think reintroducing that and having fun, being competitive again took some time, but I think because I took the time to do it, it allowed me to get to the point where I'm at now, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And she's talking about her break. You took, because you were with Brooks.
Yeah, I
was.
Uh-huh.
And then you had your, like, what was it, like a 2-year break or 3-year break?
Yeah. I did train. So I left Seattle and moved back right before like the holidays, New Year's 2019.
Okay.
And I synced back up with my high school coach. I was training for the 2020 10K trials. I still think like I'm probably in better shape than I was then, but at that point in my life, the best shape I had ever been in. And I was getting ready to debut in the half at New York in March. And then obviously COVID hit. And I just like, I almost felt like it was like this is your sign. Like we've just been going through the motions. Like, yes, I can, at a certain point, like at this level, like you can train and stay fit and like you can go through the motions and tick the boxes. But like I saw COVID as a chance to just like, I'm like, the whole world is shut down. Like, if this is the time, like this is the time to figure out what you want. And I think I'd been grappling with wanting to take a step back from running, but being so worried about what everybody would think about that. Mm-hmm. Like, I have to like do a stupid Instagram post and like my family's gonna, probably feel bummed about it. My friends and everybody's gonna wonder what happened and what's going on. But COVID like gave me the chance to just like, just kind of take a little step back and focus on work and like family and friends and just get through a freaking global pandemic, which was not easy. And I think it was a silver lining and blessing in disguise, because otherwise I think I would have just kept pushing forward in the same way I was, and it wasn't healthy and it wasn't fun. So
Wow.
yeah, it was like 2 years back, kind of just figuring life out. And then I did a few fun races, I think in the holiday season of 2021, and then did the Mesa half marathon. So that was like my first big race back.
Well, you also had a name change, so that was
did.
that was one of the reasons.
I was like, oh, I get to run under an alias, and nobody will know it's me. So that was really nice. Yeah, I feel like I just had a rebrand.
You had a rebrand.
I was like, okay, we're just gonna use this as a clean slate. It didn't really last that long. I think during the race, my husband said he was like at some point cheering, and there was somebody, like a local Arizona runner, and they were like, is that just done? And he's like, yeah, your cover was blown like during the race, but yeah, it was nice. Well, it was fun.
No, but like so many of us were like, who's the girl in the pink tank top or the pink sports bra? Like, what? I don't recognize her. And then you look up the name and you're like, wait, Jess McClain. And then we all hear the maiden name. We're like, oh yes.
That's why I loved it. I thought Orlando was fun. Orlando was hilarious too, because there were a few people that I saw like tagged, me in a tweet or something, and they were like, oh my gosh, this Jess McClain has just come out of nowhere, like hasn't run, ran her first race in marathon in 2022. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is great.
Let me give you a history lesson here.
Yeah. So it was like a funny way to just at least sign up for a race without people really knowing, and train for it on my terms and do it. So yeah, it was good.
So Boston is, like we said, super soon. So this episode is going to go out this Friday. What is that? Like the 12th or something. Mm-hmm. So then it'll be like a week, and then you're there. Talk about how we're feeling about like the course and just like the competition. And thank God you've done a major now, so you've got that experience under the belt. You can move on from that feeling.
Exactly. I'm feeling great. I got to spend time driving and running the course for a whole weekend in February. I did an indoor 5K in Boston, and it was very kind of the BAA to have us out there to do a course run and hang out with some of the BAA squad and just get to know Boston a little bit more. So that made me feel a lot more comfortable. I did a 16-mile run on the first 16, and then, had driven the course going out and then drove it back in. I did get to run the course with Connor and Clayton. So that was really fun. It was it was all good vibes. They're some of the best in the world and some of the best people I got to find out. Not that I didn't know that already, but just getting to share that morning with them was really fun. So it's just been all that, like all just really good celebratory fun. It gave me something to like visualize and come back then, to Phoenix and really hone in on some routes that I think will help me on the hills. But yeah, I mean, the course is great. I love the quaintness of the towns you get to run through. It's such a different, in terms of like the skyline and, New York, it's just very different. And I'm excited for that. And sharing the course that morning with so many people, just running the Boston course. You had, like running stores, doors open with gels and water and Gatorade. Like, just if you're running, on a Sunday or Saturday on the weekend, you can just pop in and fuel and like chat with other runners. And I even saw like paramedics hanging out on the course just in case anybody running, like training needed anything. I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever. So it was awesome. And then we love Boston. My husband hadn't been to Boston ever, so it was his first trip there. Yeah. Wow. So it was just all good vibes. We had great food, and Newberry Street was amazing. So I'm excited to see that totally transform and just like fill up with runners and people getting ready to race and celebrate watching. Yeah, I'm just really excited. The field is stacked for sure. So that's really fun. Yes. I think we're all at the point where you want to race the best and line up with the best. And I mean, as far as like just the American contingent, it's insane. So it'll be really fun. I think a lot of it will be practicing what I do best, staying like within myself the first half of the race, and yeah, adjusting for weather and whatever needs to happen. And yeah, I think we're in a good place. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Were you surprised at how like steep the downhill was in those first couple miles?
Yes, I for sure was.
Yeah, it's like
I knew
everybody talks about it, but then you're like, wait, what?
I knew it was steep because my husband was training he had his big 50K the next weekend, which he ended up DNFing because we might have gone a little bit too hard on the Boston course with Connor and Clayton. But
he ran it with you?
Uh-huh.
Oh,
he
nice.
was supposed to have like an easy run, and then it was really cute because we get to the start line, take a few photos, like hang with Connor and Clayton, and then they are kind of like, okay, guys, well, it was really great to meet you. And I think that moment, Connor, my husband's name is also Connor. Yeah. He's like, okay, I'm just gonna friggin' go with them. And I'm like, they're Olympians in the marathon, out for like what to them might be an easier, steady run on the Boston Marathon course, but for us is not. And my Connor is just like glued onto them for, the first few miles. And then I think they realize they can't shake us because Connor was determined and he was having fun. So he ended up running like 12 miles with us on the course. And I think the steep downhill like gave him the, little push he needed to run the low 6:15 to 6 flat paces. But I was definitely a little sore the next day. I think that was really good intel and good information, because it's really hard. I think it's easier to switch from, running uphill for the most part at first and then, going into the downs. But it's a different system to start on a downhill and then have to switch to the muscles and system for going uphill. So that was like really good. Yeah, that was good to know and good to run on, because I've heard from, everybody that it is quite downhill, but to actually run it was a different story. So yes, that was that was really nice to get that information.
Have we, I don't remember if the last time we talked, did we talk about how you and your husband met? He obviously is a good runner.
Yeah, it's really funny because I was so stoked to, I dated runners and they're great. But I was like, oh, it's actually nice to date and marry somebody that, isn't doing this for a job. Like that's a nice switch up. And now he's like full in it. He's like, I want to get so good that I can pace you in workouts. And I'm like, cute, but I'm like, it's really okay if you don't pace me in workouts. I don't think, I love when he comes out and runs with us on long runs and all that. But I'm like, I can get the work done. You don't have to get out before you have to get to work at 6 a.m. But we met through my cousin. He was my cousin's best friend growing up. And they were on Pop Warner football together, and my uncle was his coach. And we were definitely running in different crowds in high school. I think I was more of the nerd. He was more of the cool football player. So we didn't quite get to know each other. Different schools too. So
okay.
And then we re-met at my cousin's 30th surprise birthday party in 2019. So
I love that.
Yeah, it was
definitely
fun.
didn't know that story.
I know. I'm like, okay, well, it's easy when the family knows him and, I have enough first and second degree connections to vet him without social media. He has no social media.
Oh, he's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So
good for him.
I know. I wish I could. He has Twitter, which, I don't really go on Twitter anymore, but now you just see him like doom scrolling Twitter. And I'm like, Twitter is what you choose now these days. Yeah. Like Blue Sky, LinkedIn, he's on LinkedIn, but yeah. So it's been really fun to share this with him and then see him like, I envy like new runners because you see improvement so quick, which is so fun.
Yes.
So he basically could barely keep up with us for the first 3 or 4 miles of runs last year. And now, he was dropping me yesterday pretty much. I'm like, okay, this is different. And it's so fun. Like, it's cool to see him like enjoying improving and wanting to do, what he can to push himself and balance it all with work. I don't know how he does it, and he's introducing me to the trails, which is fun. He's more, wants to be in the outdoors and nature. And so the trail scene seems really fun, at least from the crewing perspective.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you guys can be like Emily and Max. Like he like paces Emily in her workouts. And
oh my gosh.
That's she always thought of.
That's what literally inspired me. He's like, oh, Max paces Emily. And I'm like, yeah, but it's like different. Like, I don't know how to, say this nicely, but Max is, just at a different level than us right now. But no, he got to hang out with Em and Max for the first time. I actually didn't know Max that well before this past weekend at the 10. So it was really fun to have a double date with them and get to know Max. That. And now I celebrate Max Crush Mondays even more than I did before. Yes. So I get the hype. I know.
All right, friends, if you're looking for an incredible way to fuel, if you've had any kind of GI issues with your typical gel products, I want you to think about using Anderson's maple syrup. They have Anderson's Pure Fuel in these awesome packets that are simple to open, and they come in a 10 pack that you can just order online. This is all natural, pure maple syrup, and it is the cleanest, simplest way to fuel. Now, there are 27 grams of carbs per serving in the Pure Fuel packets. They have no artificial ingredients, 54 antioxidants, over 54, zinc, potassium, electrolytes. The only thing I will say, I feel like I have to make this disclaimer, is you're going to want to check out a way to supplement your sodium. You can get that in your electrolyte drink or take a salt tab to pair with the Anderson's Pure Maple Syrup. But when we are exercising our muscles, we use almost all of our body's stored glucose. And when it's time to refuel, the body responds better to energy that can be absorbed quickly and easily. And that is what Anderson's Pure Maple Syrup provides. It breaks down and delivers glucose the second it enters the bloodstream. Plus, because it has a lower glycemic index than other sugars, it breaks down over a longer period of time to keep athletes fueled longer. Go to organicpurefuel.com to check out more. You can use the code FUEL20, FUEL20, for 20% off your order with Anderson's Pure Fuel on your first order. Thank you, Anderson's Pure Fuel, for supporting this podcast. And you all go check out this high-quality way to fuel for your runs. Back to the show. Speaking of that, though, like Brooks, I feel like I had Emily on after she signed with Brooks. It's actually kind of funny because I just hadn't caught up with her in a long time. And I was like, let's have Emily Infeld back on the show. And then she announced she had signed with Brooks. And then she was like, I wondered if you had heard, and that's why you asked. And it wasn't the case at all.
Oh, it was just serendipitous. Yes. That's so funny.
But I told her when she was on, I was like, Brooks is totally having a moment. I mean, really big moment. And I think it's really cool. Talk about the camaraderie of the team that you feel being on it.
It's so awesome. Between Erica. So Erica and I have shared the road circuit, together, and she's just been crushing. Mm-hmm. And this is just talking about, us road and the ones that are kind of training on their own. The Beasts are amazing and the Hansons are also great, but it's so cool to see a squad like this where we're all doing things completely differently in different parts of the U.S. You've got Erica and Susanna and Amanda and Emily and Alphine and Des, CJ, the list goes on. But Brooks brought us all together for a little weekend in San Diego, which was really cool. And because I've crossed paths with CJ and a few Colin and a few others at World Majors, but you're so I was so nervous. I'm they probably didn't even get a good experience of who I am. And you just can't fully get to know somebody in that environment. So it was so cool to just go train and get fun content and hang out and go cook pasta together for 3 days. And that was announced on that trip. I remember I kind of heard, so I texted them and I knew before, but it was really cute to see Amanda light up when she saw Em in the room, and then Alphine FaceTimed in, and she specifically asked to talk to Amanda on the phone. She's like, "Can you pass the phone to Amanda?" And Amanda was like, "Oh my God, Alphine knows who I am." Literally started tearing up, and I'm like, this is what this is all about. This is so cool. And I love that Brooks sees athletes that might be going through something or whatever it is, but they choose to look at the potential and the athlete as a person and what they can do for the brand and what they can do for the sport. And Emily and Alphine are 100% the type of people that you want in your family and in your brand. And I was so stoked to hear that. But yeah, it's been really cool. Susanna is somebody I didn't know very well before that weekend, and she is so funny. Like, we did one run together. Most people opted to go on the treadmill, and she's like, I literally can't run on the treadmill because I will be injured like right after. And I was like, I'll go with you outside. Like, I want to run outside. So we ran together, and she, like, my abs were hurting because I was laughing so much, like, on the run. Like, she's freaking hilarious. So funny.
So good.
Yeah, it's just a really good bunch. And I think those kind of moments where we get to do retreats like that and spend time together, like, give us that sense of team. So when we're on the road and seeing each other at races, it's like, okay, I've got somebody in my corner and somebody on my team. And when you're in a race, like, I feed off of like Emily, and I love racing with Erica. Like, you just feel like, even though you are competitors, like, I feel like I have somebody in the race that is on my team, and it's really cool. So, oh my gosh, only good things to say. Brooks is freaking killing it. It's been so fun.
Yeah. I love that idea too. I mean, I think that's what made you and Emily breaking 31 together feel so special, because it felt like you guys like did it together, and you were like, not that you couldn't feel like that with someone else that you've been on the circuit with for a long time. Like,
yeah,
you're always gracious with your competitors at the end, but
sure.
There was like an extra level of special there, it seemed.
Yeah. And I also like seeing Amanda make that team in Atlanta was awesome. Like, it was so awesome. She is so good. And I'm like, cannot wait to watch her the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
I think she's going to be like really scary to race for a lot of people for a long time. But then to see her like not have the best day at the 10 it sucked. But like, it was so cool because she took the time to text Emily and I on a group chat like right after, and was like, so happy for you guys. Like, and then it gave us the moment to be like, okay, if only you could see, like, have the perspective that we have now. Like, we have had the shittiest, worst races of our career. Like, we've been there. Like, this is even like your worst day right now is like not even as bad as some of our worst days. Like, you are so okay. Like, this, if anything, like, this is going to give you good information, and like, you can totally figure out what's going on. And like, it's a good moment too, to just get with your coach and be like, okay, I didn't feel great. Let's figure out why. And then I'm like, you made the team. Like, you are a Team USA member. Like, this was icing on the cake. You know what I mean? So it was really cute of her to be so supportive. And I feel like that's what the sport is so hard. And I think if you can't be happy for other people or take the time to lift people up and, you know, celebrate with them when they're at the highest highs, and then take a minute to just check in with people when they're at their lowest of lows. And I think somebody who's done that really well, who's also a Brooks teammate, is Des.
Oh yeah. Like,
when I disappeared, she still reached out.
like back in the day.
Yeah. And at Orlando, there was a moment in the race where we had, you know, this hairpin turn, and you're kind of like running against the people that are still coming into the turn. And that was going into the final lap of Orlando. And she literally like pointed at me and was like, I can't remember exactly what she said, but it was like, let's go. Like, you're right there. It was something where it's like, she took the time out of a race where we're all hurting and suffering, like, to just cheer me on. And, you know, she was so amazing at the finish line, and she's done that before. And I'm like, those are the moments that I remember, like, more so than my crappy races. And like those are the times that stand out to me. And I'm like, if I can, I don't know, be there for Amanda in a time where like, I know she's going to be fine. And like, this is going to be a race she's not going to remember at some point. But like, if I can help ease that pain in that moment, and I know Emily did too. Em's feedback is always like so valuable. I'm always like, okay, remember, like, we've both been through all this. But yeah, I think the sport is just, it can break your heart a million times, but it can also it's full of like the best people. And you can have that one moment, like Orlando completely erased most of the really awful memories that I had from races. Like, I just can't even pick those out. Like, the things that stand out are the people and the moments like that and who you share it with. So yeah, I just try to keep that in mind too, because not every race can go like perfectly well.
It's such good advice too, because especially when you're like younger, I feel like these moments feel like so magnified.
Yeah. I mean, you don't think back to high school. Like, I wish I could go back in time and tell my high school self, like, oh my God, this is literally a dual meet.
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
Get it together, have fun. Like, okay, this is your first state. You're going to literally race 20 more state races. Like,
Yeah.
but it's all, I mean, hindsight's 2020. Like you can only do the work in the moment and learn it the hard way. But yeah, there's so much young talent right now where I'm like, oh my gosh, like you think the times right now are scary? Like it's crazy. Like Taylor Rowe has been so fun to watch.
Oh yeah, Taylor Rowe. Yeah.
Oh my, like it's so cool. It's just so cool. So yeah, you have to celebrate people doing well because it's making our sport better and it's making more fans. And I think that's so important. And yeah, it's been a really cool like week. Like the Grand Slam just happened. I pretty much was like a full track roads fan this weekend. My husband's like, okay, so we watched track and running for like 10 hours of our one weekend where we're not racing. And
Yeah, that is life now.
Yeah, but it was so fun.
What did you think about Grand Slam? I was like a little disheartened that the stands weren't very full, but I was also like, well, maybe when it's in Miami and Philly in the States, like we'll be able to feel the stadiums more, but it's more about the broadcast maybe?
Yeah, I think I didn't do too much research into what was going on to promote, the attendance physically, like in Jamaica. Like, I don't even know what the ticket prices were, if they're like, I'm not quite sure. I mean, I thought it was great. I thought it brought a very interesting spin to our sport. There's just different tactics. And I mean, you see Grant in these interviews now saying like, oh, all I needed was third. And there's people getting mad about that. But I'm like, that's what this is about. It's about like creating those conversations and like creating the hype. And I'm like, the dude's smart. Like he ran what he needed to do. He ran the race he was in to win. Yeah, I think there's things that, I mean, it's going to get better as it goes, for sure. Yeah. I thought it was awesome. I do think, like, I'm interested to see, viewership data, like if there was any drop off, just in terms of like the duration of the broadcast. I think the one thing with our sport is like, how do you fill that dead air?
Yes.
And there was some storytelling that I think helped with that, and like the fun way to incorporate, the Jamaican culture with trying the snacks, and that was really fun. But I think it'll be good to see like how we perhaps improve to just maybe tell more of the stories and intertwine that a little bit more. But I mean, you have to give it to them. It's like this is the first year. Cool to see Centro on the broadcast. Mm-hmm. I thought that was really fun. Yeah, I thought it was great. I mean, I watched for 9 hours, so like
so good.
Yeah, but I think what I do think, and I'll give Des credit for this because I saw her tweet about it, is like, how can we make it higher stakes for the challengers and like the racers? Like maybe if a racer does happen to fall in like the last racer spot or the bottom multiple times, like they get booted and replaced with a challenger, or like, how do you just make it like gamify it more and make it a little bit more intense that way? But it's like, this is just year one and it's already having these conversations going, and there's multiple betting apps, and like we're kind of taking note of other sports that have done it well. So I think it's, only up from here. I thought it was great. Hats off to that team. Kyle Merber, like, I want to know how many hours he works a week right now because
oh my gosh,
he's crushing it. Hats off to him and the whole Grand Slam team. But yeah, I'm really stoked to see like what happens in Miami and the next few.
Yeah, that's an interesting point you bring up about Kyle Merber, because I wonder what that felt like for him. Like Sidious is doing so well, and like it's such a exciting time for them in the sport, but then to switch, not careers so much because you're still in the same landscape, but to go all in on Grand Slam and leave Sidious, like that's a big career decision.
It is. No, I think, and that's like telling. It's like it's hard to do anything with your toe just in dipping it in the water halfway. It's like Merber went all in, and I think that's awesome. And he's so talented. Like even, I read his newsletters, and like he's got the marketing brain. He's a great writer, great storyteller. He's literally been in the footsteps of these pros that have competed on international and national stages. So like, and he's probably looking at it with like he probably came into it knowing what was missing from, some broadcasts and just the storytelling element. And it's like, I think that is a really unique position to have. And kudos to him because this is like, I can't even imagine. Like usually you get to something and you're like, oh, all the hard work is done. Like now we just get like things will go wrong. But but no, it's like those last 3 days, I can only imagine they were churning out content and really high quality content.
Yeah.
And it felt like you were watching F1 with like the graphics and the intros and the blocks. Like it was just very cool. So yeah, I thought it was very well done.
I mean, I feel like they need to use what you just said as like an advertisement for how well Grand Slam is going.
I only wish I was as competitive as, I don't know. I mean, I think I could run a really good 5K right now, but 3K, 5K back to back, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I was living vicariously through Emily and
yes.
Whitney, and yeah, it was cool.
What are you, Jess, most excited about for the remainder of 2025? Obviously, Boston's coming up, but just life in general. It doesn't even have to be about running.
Life in general. In 2025, I mean, definitely excited to hopefully get 2 more majors under my belt.
Oh, so you're saying you're doing a major in the fall?
I would love to. I think 2 is like the perfect amount. Not that I would do 3, but we'll leave that to CJ. 3+ in a year.
He'll do like 10. Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh, my niece turns 1 next weekend, which is crazy. Yeah, we just have like a lot of positive things going on in my family. So that's really, and then my grandma has to get hip surgery again a week after that. So like, just being, I think like family is like really important to me right now. But personally, yeah, I think challenging myself in work has been really fun. It was kind of like my first full year last year. And now I'm taking a little bit more autonomy of certain things and programs and taking a little bit more risks on fun events, raising money for our foster kiddos and rescue dogs. So that's really fun. But yeah, I think for running, I said a few years ago, or like at least a year ago when I re-signed my Brooks contract, like I do not want to hop on the track ever again. Like I'm over it. But I'm excited to now be in a place where I'm actually having fun with it again. So I'd love to challenge myself this spring and summer, well, summer mostly, and maybe do a 5K or something out of my comfort zone again on the track. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Just continuing to like enjoy balancing work life, running, all the things. My husband and I want to plan our 5th year wedding anniversary trip. So we're kind of doing that in the background. We want to do like a 5 or 6 day Dolomite hiking excursion in the Alps in Europe. So that would be fun to just keep being excited about planning. But yeah, I think that's all I got.
I love that. That's so good. And I just laugh about the no track because
I know.
Your girl's on the track.
Yeah, we're on the track. Yeah, TBD on Outdoor USA's. I think it'd be fun to put myself in it. I'm assuming my time qualified me. So chance you might see me back in Eugene, and that would be really fun. So yeah, I love that half this year is still kind of up in the air.
Yeah.
And I love that I get to plan it all. Which is great.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, and we didn't get into Jess's like full-time job in this episode, but we do have an episode from after you placed 4th at the Olympic trials in the marathon where I know we for sure talked about it a little bit. So if you guys want to learn more about that, I'll link the episode in the show notes.
Awesome. Oh, thanks, Lindsay.
Yes. Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for coming back on the show.
No, thank you for having me, and thanks for getting me excited for Boston.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. All right, friends, thanks so much for being here today. Thank you, Jess, for coming on the podcast. Always a pleasure to catch up with you. I love your energy. I cannot wait to cheer for you in Boston. You all check Jess's Instagram out. She's Jess Tawn on Instagram. You can find me. I'm Lindsay Hines 626 on Instagram. SandyBoyProductions.com is our website for all of our podcasts in the network. You can also find me co-hosting the Relay podcast. Anything we talked about will be in the show notes at SandyBoyProductions.com. Just go over to the Sandy Boy page, click on I'll Have Another, and you can find the most recent episode there. Thanks so much for being here, and we'll see you next time on I'll Have Another with Lindsay Hine podcast.